We have some breaking news here on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m. Fire crews in Aurora had to race around a neighborhood overnight to put out multiple fires.
Let's get right to Christian Lopez in a neighborhood near Iliff Avenue in Peoria. And Christian, these fires sound suspicious.
Yeah, and firefighters tell us that they are looking for a person of interest, but they haven't given us a description of who they're looking for. And that fire, it happened in this apartment complex behind us. We're just not allowed to be in there. But this fire did displace 10 people, and we actually just spoke to a family off camera, and they were gathering a few things that they had left, and they told us that the apartment building managers right now were helping them get a key to a vacant apartment so that they could go in there for the time being. And this isn't the only fire that is under investigation right now. Actually, Aurora Fire Department tells us that there are around 10 fires that they are investigating. And all of these happened overnight, and they were set in places like bushes, next to buildings. They were set in fields and dumpsters as well. But the most destructive one was the one in this apartment building that left around a dozen people and their pets displaced. And thankfully, there are no injuries reported at this time. We are going to stay on scene and continue gathering the latest information for you guys. We're live in Aurora this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Yeah, an extremely dangerous situation there. We will continue to follow this story as it develops on air on our website, thedenverchannel.com, and the Denver 7 Plus app.
Well, you're taking a live look outside from our Lookout Mountain camera. It's still windy out, but not as severe as what we saw yesterday. Lisa?
You're right. That camera's actually kind of stable right now. Nice to see. It is still going to be windy today. We'll likely see wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour, but it's a lot calmer than the more than 100 mile per hour gusts that we saw yesterday. Recently here in town, anywhere from 15 to about 30 miles per hour, so just a little shaky. I was shaking around a little bit driving in this morning. Right now, when you look at our temperature change, anywhere from 20 to about 25 degrees colder than the same time yesterday. So a pretty big drop in temperatures with that front rolling through. Most cities are right now in the upper 20s to low 30s, so close to freezing. We do have some clearing skies, though. We're expecting sunshine today and a really pretty afternoon, although chillier. Starting off in the 30s, getting into the 40s here by 11 o'clock, and then we'll be right around 48 to near 52 degrees this afternoon. Things are really going to warm up and calm down toward the end of the week. Coming up, I'll show you some of the alerts that are still in effect, though, for today.
And right now, even though those winds have diminished, as Lisa said, we still have some folks that are going to be having some difficulties with the windy conditions here today. And you can see some of the trees are moving around a little bit, but the bike lanes and the paths across Boulder look just fine. The driving areas look just fine. Take a look at the drive that we have here on I-70 at Pecos, again looking just fine for us. We had a scattering of a few power outages still from the overnight hours. At one point, I think we had over 9,000 customers without power around town, but right now it doesn't look too bad. Take a look at the drive that you might still find, though, some power outages affecting some traffic lights, and that's why I'm mentioning it. The rest of the drive looks just fine on and off the highways citywide. No lingering construction that I could see, and no big issues on or off the freeways right now.
Thank you, Jason. Well, we are headed into more high fire danger again today with those red flag warnings. Firefighters fortunately were able to stop this small fire in Boulder County yesterday morning before it could do any damage to surrounding homes. But in a major disaster like the Marshall Fire, firefighters might not be able to respond everywhere at once. And that's where a new kind of service from insurance companies comes in. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is looking into contracted wildfire defense teams.
Yeah, when there's a wildfire nearby, protecting yourself and then protecting your home, those are probably really top of mind, right? But waiting for those evacuation notices and those pre-evacuation notices to start thinking about that, it might be too late. And that's really where these emergency response teams come into the picture and come into play. So this specific team that we're talking about this morning, it claims to add or remove equipment, even landscaping, to protect your home in case of something like a wildfire. This could be anything from cutting down those shrubs or creating defensible space, even getting rid of a piece of flammable furniture that might be too close to, let's say, a door near your home. Some insurance companies, they've rolled this service out at no additional cost to homeowners. They've partnered with these kind of companies. We spoke with an insurance agent who told us she's heard of these kind of services, and while they may be great options, she and her agent suggest this: current fire conditions should prompt any homeowner to call their agent to check on coverage because of those environmental factors and of course, those increasing home costs that we've heard so much about.
It really is a wake-up call that People need to be talking to their insurance professionals about how am I financially prepared for wildfire? What are my limits on my policy? How much am I insured for? What are my deductibles? And then how does my coverage work? I'm covered for wildfire risk.
Walker said she also recommends homeowners reach out to their agents if at any point they make upgrades to their homes, even buy a new expensive piece of jewelry, let's say, so they're covered and they're not underinsured at any point. In Boulder County, I'm Veronica Acosta, number 7.
Veronica, thank you. Turning to the war in Ukraine, the Biden administration plans to announce a new round of sanctions against Russia. It includes a ban on all new investments. The European Union is reportedly proposing sanctions directly against Vladimir Putin's 2 daughters. The White House will also send an additional $100 million in security assistance to Ukraine, helping its military secure more Javelin missile launchers. Russian forces are continuing their airstrikes in Mariupol. Civilians are still trapped and running low on resources. Here, long lines of people are waiting for food. Russian troops have prevented humanitarian access to the southern city.
Well, it's a question most of us are asking almost daily. When will gas prices go back down? Well, this morning we're taking a 360 in-depth look at oil prices and how that's translating to our prices at the gas pump. Before oil executives testify before Congress today, and if releasing any of the U.S. strategic stockpile will make a difference. So first, let's look at oil. Friday will mark 1 month since oil shot up to almost $124 a barrel. It has dropped back to about $100 a barrel for the last week, but the average price of gasoline in Colorado has only dropped 2 cents over the last week. Meanwhile, today, executives from 6 of the largest oil companies have agreed to testify before a key congressional panel about the rising cost of gasoline. But industry experts say the oil industry has the same problem many companies have right now, and that's supply chain.
They may get grilled on why U.S. oil production isn't going up, but I think a lot of the answers are going to be very similar to things we're hearing in other sectors of the economy. That is, we're encountering significant labor challenges and headwinds, steel shortages. There's just a lot of supply chain disruptions that are affecting oil companies' abilities to raise production in a meaningful way.
So Colorado Representative Diana DeGette chairs the House Subcommittee on Energy and Commerce and says Americans across the country are suffering from the skyrocketing cost of gasoline, while some of the nation's largest oil companies are reporting record high profits. We will not sit back and allow the fossil fuel industry to take advantage of the American people and gouge them at the pump. Experts, though, point out Congress doesn't complain about other industries making profits.
Oil companies have been posting $10 to $20 billion quarterly gains. Their margins, or their profit margin, is only about 10 or 15% on a good day. You compare that to the tech industry, where Apple is making upwards of 40% margin. What are we really going after? Is it the percentage of profit being made, or is it the amount of money?
As for the oil releases that President Biden is promising, for some context there, 1 million barrels a day can help the supply chain, but the European Union is considering whether to stop buying oil from Russia, and that would mean a loss of more than 4 million barrels a day on the global market scale.
Still to come, the Avalanche are heading to the playoffs after beating the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-4. Nathan MacKinnon scored 2 goals, and the Avalanche also became the first NHL team to have 50 wins this season.
I really like what I'm seeing. I feel like we're still like improving at this point in the year, and that's what we want to do. Right to the bitter end, we're going to keep working on our game, and I think our guys are bought into that, and they're doing that.
The Avs are back on the road Friday night to take on the Winnipeg Jets.
This is going to be fun. Jason said he's going to not cut his hair during the playoffs, right, Jace? Is that it?
That's right.
It's going to grow. Nice flow. We have early this morning winds that are still pretty gusty. You can see high fire danger here in pink. Those are red flag warnings, and then high wind warnings. We'll take a closer look at just how gusty it's going to get and when things are finally going to calm down a bit more.
And right now you can see down on South Broadway, the drive looks pretty good. It will be flowing locks. And maybe I'll just do the mullet.
Good, yeah, please.
Maybe I'll just go back to my 1987 mullet when I was in high school. All right, so you look at the drive here on South Broadway, it looks just fine. Not seeing any problems for us down there. A good looking commute just about anywhere you want to go.
Some good news if you still have student loans. President Biden plans to give you more time before you have to start making those payments again. Plus,
I'm John Matarese. It started 2 years ago with the pandemic, online plant shopping, and now it's taking off in popularity. I'll explain why. Coming up.